Right, last run through of the deeper, because I've had a look and I've got a nice little run out there. It's a good 6 feet deep and it's clear. There's a little bit of weed on the outer side. On the inside she seems a lot nicer. Lovely, that'll do. I'm happy with that. I can do a trot of about 5 feet to 5.5 foot deep and I should be on the money. But what I'm going to do first of all is I'm not going to use a catapult because there's a massive amount of bleak here, which is probably all I'm going to catch. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop on a little feeder, basically weight bottomed, and I'm going to use that as a baiting up feeder. And I'm using leftover maggots and blitz bread, bit of sweet corn. And the reason why I'm using leftovers is because I couldn't get down the tackle shop. The tackle shop's miles away and it's not always convenient to nip down. But if you've got any bait left over from a session, I always like to freeze it up. Now, just letting it soak into the feeder, I'm going to strike it out and deposit some bait down there. I've done a few earlier on before I deepered, then I deposited, then I did a deeper, and now I'm just going to put a couple more in there. And I'm just going to put this last one in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trot over the top, but I've only got dead maggots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trot with artificial rubber maggots, which will be interesting. It's something I've done a fair few times, and smaller fish can see them, but from my experience, bigger fish don't. So that's the little feeder job done, and the deeper's done its job. So I'm going to put it all away and get the float rod out. Right, deeper's done its job, got it back in the pocket, just going to put it away. Let's pop that back there, adjust that up a little bit better. There you go. And I'm going to put the feeder on as well. Got a feeder pocket full of bait up droppers, etc. And we'll just stick that over there for now. Right, let's get a float rod out. 12 foot 2-piece, 1 pound dark carbon. Okay, and I've got a little Avon float on this. Now we're going to want to try and get this to about 5 feet. So I'm gonna use me as a measuring device because I'm 6 foot. And let's have a look. Right. Get this to get that hook on the deck and then measure her up about 5 feet, and I reckon that's going to be 5 foot, 5.5 feet, about there. And we'll have a trot through and see if we catch the bottom. Right. Float is set to around about 5 feet. I'm going to do some adjustments because I'm running about 5.5 to 6 foot deep out there. But I'm going to be fishing a rubber maggot. It is a sinking one. I've got quite a big hook here. I've got a size 14 fine wire, and I've got quite a large red grub. And I'm going to thread it on, do a hook, just like it's a normal maggot, but really threaded on style. So I'm going to go all the way through. It's a bit fiddly, but I'm going to go all the way through the maggot. And basically the entire hook will be covered by the rubber maggot. So bear with me, because it does take a little bit of turn and throw in, but once it's on, I've covered the entire hook, including the knot, and I've got a little bit of hook exposed. Now that's the end result, and if there's not enough hook exposed there, I'm going to swap it over to a wide gape, but I'll run it through a couple of times and see what happens. I don't think it's going to be ideal. I think the size of maggot to the size of hook is a bit big, but I've got some smaller ones. But we'll give it a trot through and see what it is. So I've already got bait deposited, and I'm just going to try and swing this out very gently, lay it on, and see if we get like we're already into a small fish, but I think it's bleak central. Yep. So, oh, hello mates, come back. I know you want to go back. There you go. Right, let's get a tea towel ready, because I think I'm going to be covered in fish slime within the next 10 minutes. So drop that down there. Okay, I've got on now a smaller red maggot, and I've got a lot better hook showing, so any bites I might have a good chance of connecting to now. We'll give that a go. Let's have a little trot. I'm going to top up with bait in a minute, because I'm going to have a few trots through and then a top up with bait, and then another few trots through and a top up with bait, but not to over bait it too much. Right, let's have a look. That's the line that I was, pop the feeder out, probably coming in a little too close, so a bit of an adjustment next time. It is swinging in quite close to the inside edge now, but no interest there. That's past the strike zone, so a bit further out for this one. I'm a little to the further out on that one. Drag it back in a little bit. Right, that should be running pretty much over the baited zone now. Just had a dip. Little inquiry. No. Ooh, and another dip. Well, I'm just going to check that maggot and make sure it's not moved at all. I don't think it has. Last trot through, because my tea is calling me, and it's been a very pleasant afternoon. Didn't catch much, just a few bits to show for my efforts. Loads and loads of bleak on the top. Managed to avoid those for the main, and just had some chublets and a few small perch, but it was very pleasant. Right, that is my last trot through because I'm getting tired. And so the fake maggot works lovely, because if you can catch small bits on it, you can catch big bits, that's for sure. So I've got a little, take my glasses off so I can see, and I'm going to put some close range glasses on. I've got a tiny size, well, it's not tiny, it's a size 14 fine wire gauge hook with a rubber sinking red maggot on there. I was using the £1 dark carbon, £6 mainline, £4 bottom, and I started off with a 2 gram Avon, and I moved on to a custom 2.5 gram wide tipped Avon. And my selection of my baits, got some pop-ups and my sinkers. And I like using sinkers because just you don't have to hook maggots on all the time. You don't have to have all that constant changing of sucked maggots. They're just on. Put it on once at the beginning of the session and just fish through, and it does work. The ground bait, well, probably get mopped up by the big fish later on this evening, but I'm going to go home and have tea and mop up my dinner.